What is up, guys? This is the Epic Gamer Boy here, and today we're going to be doing an updated device collection of November 2025. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you guys can see, my collection has changed a lot throughout the months since I last did one. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting off over here, oh, by the way, we're going to get started with the iPhones first, as always. So first up here we have is the iPhone 2G. This is a 8GB model. It is in good condition besides these little marks, which is kind of normal for these things, and it works fully good with no issues. By the way, I'm not gonna bother turning all of these on because I don't want it to spam with my information and stuff, and yeah. So you're just gonna have to believe my words for what I for the all the specs on these. So yeah, so this is the iPhone 2G. Next up you have is an iPhone 3G. This thing is 8GB, missing a SIM card tray, and it works. Next up we have is a iPhone 3GS. This is a white model, 16 gigs. Works fully good with no issues. The only issue I really noticed with this is the mute switch being iffy, but other than that, it works. By the way, this and this have like a lot of like old apps and games and music on it. This one only just has some like Spanish looking music, but no any apps. But still nice to have a 2G since a lot of these are since the iPhone 2G is pretty rare nowadays. Next up we have is an iPhone 3GS. Now this phone is 8GB. You can tell this is 8GB because it does not have the capacity, but yeah, 8GB, fully working with no issues. Just have some random stuff on here. I actually bought this random stuff since a lot of these you can't really use the App Store or iTunes Store anymore to download apps and music and stuff. So yeah. Next up, we have another 3GS. Now this is one of my main 3GSs, because yes, this is one of my main 3GS. I had this one since 2023, and I actually found this in the Target bin back in 2023, and this thing had a swollen battery, but my friend like replaced the battery on this for me, and yeah, it is fully working, and it still works to this day. By the way, I will include the phone that I am recording on for this video as well, so just to let you guys know that I won't forget for that. So that's the 3GS. Next up, we have another iPhone 3GS. Now this is a white color, 16 gigs, fully working with no issues. And yeah, it's in this nice Hatsune Miku case. Yep. Now we're on to like the iPhone. Wait, no, we still have one more. And next up we have another 3GS. Now this one's 8GB. This one fully works, and except this one, the only big thing about this phone is that this phone has a really bad battery. Like it only works when it's on the charger. When you unplug it and stuff, it just instantly dies. And whenever this thing is stone dead, it will try to like boot loop and stuff. So yeah, this phone has a really bad battery. But it works still. But it works if you're just using it on the charger. I know a lot of the iPhone 3G/3GS nowadays have bad batteries, and it's pretty common for them to have bad batteries. But this one has like the worst battery out of all the other ones I have. So yeah. Now we're on to the iPhone 4s and 4Ss, and as you can see, I have so many of them because this is like the most iPhones I have in my collection. So let's get started. First up, we have the GSM iPhone 4. Oh, by the way, wait. So this is 16, 8 gig, yeah. This one's an iPhone 4 GSM. I believe this one's a 16GB. It is in good condition and it fully works with no issues. Next up we have is another iPhone 4. This one's also a GSM model. I think this one's 8 gig because I do remember a lot of my iPhone 4s and 4Ss I have are like the 8 GB ones are like the ones I had the most. So this one I believe is 8 gigs if I still remember it. Yeah, works fully good with no issues. I think this one was from a Target bin back in 2023, and this one was from like some untested phone lot, if I could remember. And for all of the 3GSs, I think for most of these, the 2G I got for a good deal. This 3G I got originally untested. The white 3G was from a phone lot, and yeah. I don't also I might not mention like all of the phones on where I got it from, because that might be a bit more effort and stuff. So we're just gonna say all of the names and the capacity for these phones and the gigabyte for these phones. So yeah, that's that iPhone 4. Next up we have is another white iPhone 4. Now this one is the GSM model, but white. This one is 8 gigs, fully working, no issues. And here I have another white iPhone 4, fully working, also GSM white. GSM white color, no issue. I do believe both of these are 8 gigs. Next up we have is another iPhone 4. Now this one is a CDMA model iPhone 4. I'm not going to take it off the case, but you can tell that it doesn't have that line here. So this is and no SIM tray. So this is a CDMA iPhone 4, black, 16 gigs. It's in this nice New York case, and it fully works with no issues. Next up, you have the white iPhone 4. This one's also CDMA one. Fully works, no issues. Although the power button on this one is a bit hard to... Except this one has like a really stiff power button. You have to like press it really hard to get it to work. And I just turned the phone on, but we'll turn it off once. I just turned the phone on, but it's fine. I'll turn it back off later. Next up we have is another white iPhone 4. Fully works, no issues. Yeah, fully working, no issues. Next, and here we have another white iPhone 4, CDMA. Fully works, no issues. By the way, this one's 16 gigs, and all of these I believe are 8 gigs. Next up we have is a white CDMA iPhone 4. Oh, this phone did turn on and it's about to die. I'm gonna turn this phone off. So this iPhone 4 here is also a CDMA model. It's also white. Man, I have so many duplicate iPhone 4s here. So white CDMA, 8 gigs for this one. Except this one is actually in like one of the best conditions I have out of all of these ones. This one is like in the best condition out of all of these ones I have here. So that's all the iPhone 4s. Now we're on to like the iPhone 4S's. So here we have is a black iPhone 4S. This is actually my main iPhone 4S. It's in this nice case with a Hatamiku sticker on it. It fully works. The home button on this one's a bit iffy, but it happens for these. Next up we have is a white iPhone 4S. This one's 16 gigs and also fully works. Now, here we have a total of 5 black iPhone 4S's. Now, it is really hard to tell which one is which out of all of these, so maybe I can turn some on and we're gonna find out to see which ones are they. Oh, by the way, these 2 iPhone 4S's, I downgraded them recently to iOS 8.4.1 because Because iOS 9 is pretty slow on these things, and I just had them sitting on iOS 9 for ages to the point that I one day feel like wanting to jailbreak again because it's been so long since I did jailbreaking. So I opened up my PC and started jailbreaking a lot of my old iOS devices, mainly a lot of my A5 and A6 devices, but I mainly do it just to wanting to downgrade them. And yeah. So now we're on to like these 5 black iPhone 4Ss. So one of these iPhone 4Ss have like activation issues because from what I heard recently, or ever since like July of this year, Apple has kind of killed activation for like the A5 and A6 devices, mainly the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 5 if they're like a Verizon model. And I have like so many iPhone 4Ss. Now when this issue like first happened, I didn't know that it could affect where it knows that this is an actual issue until I recently experienced this by kind of wasted a lot of my money on iPhone 4Ss just to encounter this issue because I expected them to fully work, but And then later on when I was doing research and scrolling through Reddit, I see other people having issues with these as well, so that's that. So I might as well just try to turn all of the 4Ss on to see what I have to see what's on them and stuff. So okay, these two have charged. Now what about these ones? Okay, this one's dead. So now out of these 5 black iPhone 4Ss, wait a minute, hold on. Out of these black iPhone 4Ss, wait, no, I should have more than that because I should have more than that. Okay, there we go. So there we go. Okay. And oh, this phone just turned on and it just crashed. Oh, so yeah, but this one's running iOS 8. But it should activate. Oh, so this one actually did kind of like went onto that activation screen, but it activated just fine. This one is running an older version of iOS 8. We're not gonna update it. It's running iOS 8.1.2. It's running iOS 8.1.2, and this one's running iOS 9. And this is okay. So this is apparently one of the ones that has the activation issue. This is one of the 4Ss in my to have that. So wait, so that means out of all of the 5 black ones here, so it's this one along with the 2 dead ones to have it, and then this one's just another, and this one is a fully working 4S. This one I also downgraded to iOS 8 along with these 2. So yep, 8.4.1. I might as well just turn these off. Turn this one off. And we'll turn this one off. Next up we have 2 white iPhone 4Ss. Now I do believe these ones are also stuck in an activation required loop. Now there are some comment. Now there is one person commenting on that video I made a while ago of showing one of my iPhone 4Ss is stuck in an activation required loop. And I think besides that, they also commented something like, why do you keep resetting these phones if anything. I forgot the whole thing, but basically, I did reset a lot of my A5 and A6 devices. I know something you should not do at this moment when Apple killed activation servers for them, but I mainly did this just to want to downgrade to iOS 8.4.1 because iOS 9 is nah on the 4S, and for the 5, it's actually a lot faster and more smoother. But iOS 10 isn't that bad on the 5, so that's that. Also, I am so sorry if my camera is shaky. I'm trying to hold still as I speak. All right, so now over here we have 3 broken iPhone 4Ss. So a lot of these ones I took them apart a while ago and couldn't figure out a way to put them back together and stuff. So this white one is missing a logic board and a battery, and this one's missing camera, logic board, and this one's fully intact, but it just wouldn't turn on. This one just wouldn't turn on. So, yeah. Now we're on to the second row section, and I've been recording for like 16 minutes now. Yeah, and also please know that this video is gonna be pretty long. So, but it is worth it at the same time to do. So, let's get started. So, here we have a iPhone 5. Now it is missing a screen because now this phone is missing a screen. Now we'll get to some more details of this soon. So here we have is a slate black iPhone 5, fully working, no issues, and this is a white iPhone 5, fully working, no issues, in this nice OtterBox case. Now both of these I downgraded them to iOS 8.4.1. And then we got this iPhone 5. This is one of my favorite phones in my collection. This is a custom blue iPhone 5. And here's the story about these two phones. So this iPhone 5 here, or this one actually was one of the ones this one here, I actually got this phone recently a few days ago. And then this one, I had it for a long time with this one, except so recently I was trying to downgrade a lot of my A5/A6 devices from iOS 9.10 to iOS 8.4.1, and then oh yeah, while I was doing this, I did end up resetting a lot of my iPhone 4S. Didn't think that it would get stuck in that activation loop, but it did because Apple killed activation servers for them. It sucks, but oh well. So then I ended up resetting. I reset this one and this one while I was doing it, but at the same time I also got this one. So this one somehow was actually able to activate just fine. Wait, this one is a Verizon model with the IMEI 99 on the back, but this one somehow was able to activate just fine. No loop whatsoever. This one's able to activate just fine. But this one, the one I had for a longer time with this one, I reset the phone, and then somehow this phone also got stuck in like the activation required loop, because apparently the activation required loop is for all A5 and A6 devices, mainly for the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 5. They have trouble activating after resetting them. So yeah, so this custom blue iPhone, and here's this custom blue iPhone 5. Now here's another story with this. So this custom blue iPhone 5 used to have like a gold looking screen that is like very premium and stuff. It has like a hairline crack, but one time one time I accidentally dropped this on my floor, and it cracked so bad to the point the screen cracked. So, and that was like right before I reset this phone. So after that, I had this one sitting in a while because I do not want to get rid of this. So I ended up like taking this one apart. This screen was from this one because this screen was from this one, and I ended up taking it apart because this one is stuck in an activation required loop, just like the 4S after I factory reset it. And why do I do this, you may be wondering? Well, I do this because I want to jailbreak and downgrade them. That's why. But oh well, since this one is stuck in an activation required loop, I just kind of use it for parts since the phone is basically bricked. All because I factory reset it just to want to jailbreak. Okay, so this is on the iPhone 5 here. Now we are on to the iPhone 5Cs. And yes, we are about 21 minutes into this video of making. So here we have a white iPhone 5C, fully working, no issue. Here we have a pink. By the way, all these iPhone 5s, if you were wondering, they're all 16 gigs. So this white 5C here, 32 gigs, fully working with a emoji case. Next up, we have is a pink iPhone 5C, fully working, 32 gigs as well. And then we got a yellow iPhone 5C, 32 gigs, fully working. Now this phone I remember used to be in like a white housing, but my friend actually swapped the housing with the yellow one, which I actually really like. So it's in this nice yellow housing and it works. And then we have a blue iPhone 5C. A Minecraft skeleton sticker on the back. Now this one I believe is also 32 gigs, fully working. And then we got this 5C. Now this one, I got it a few months ago from a Target bin. It works besides the spinning home button, which I think it happened before. Next up, we have is a iPhone 5S, silver 16 gigs, fully working. Now this one, I do remember this one. I had it since 2022, and I used it as like either my main phone or as like a secondary because I really like this phone. So yeah, really nice. Next up, we have is a space gray iPhone 5S. Now this one's also 16 gigs in this nice OtterBox case. Now this part of the case kind of broke. While I was like trying to take this case and try to put the phone in. I don't know why, but some OtterBox cases are pretty difficult to put on and take off. Next up, we have the gold iPhone 5S. Now, this thing is a bit special because this phone here is running iOS 9. Yep, iOS 9. The main reason I got this phone was because this phone is running iOS 9, and even though iOS 9 doesn't seem that rare on the iPhone 5S, but it is still pretty faster than iOS 12. So that's that. Okay, so next up you have is another iPhone 5S. This one's 32 gigs. Except this one's 32 gigs, fully working, space gray. Next up, we have a silver iPhone 5S. Now this one's running iOS 10. I know iOS 10 is not that rare, especially if you can downgrade them to iOS 10. But this one I got it with iOS 10. So yeah, next up we have is another iPhone 5S space gray. Except this one's 64 gigs and fully working. Yep, this one is 64 gigs and it is fully working. Next, and now we're on to like the iPhone 6. So we have an iPhone 6, 64 gigs, space gray, fully working. I'm gonna mention the battery health. So for these iPhones and onwards. So the battery health on this one, I believe, was at 86. I think 86 the last time I used it. Now here I have another iPhone 6, except this one is on iOS 10. The only thing about this phone is that Touch ID doesn't work. But other than that, the rest of the phone works. Let me go to this side. Here we have is the iPhone 6 Plus, 64 gig, fully working. The only thing about this phone is that Touch ID doesn't work, but other than that, the phone works. And the battery health on this one, I believe, was at, I forgot because I haven't used it in a while, but maybe 86 as well, or 85 even, so somewhere around that. Next up, we have is another iPhone 6 Plus, except this one's a bit special because this one is a China model iPhone 6 Plus. Now, this phone is my grandpa's old phone, but he upgraded a long time ago, and I was finally able to have it after this phone sitting in my grandparents' house for years. And yeah, it works. Next up, we have is, I do remember the battery health on this one is 88, and the battery health on this phone is 88. Next up, we have is a iPhone 6s, Rose Gold, 64 gigs, fully working. The battery health on this one is 95. Here we have is another iPhone 6s, except this one here does not work. I found this in the Target bin with that 5C, and I did try to take this apart, swapped it with multiple parts from multiple 6Ss, still doesn't work. So this thing is kind of water damage and board damage. Although the phone is FMI-off though, that's one thing. Next up we have is a iPhone 6s, except this is 6s, except this one is kind of just a bent housing with water damage inside. And here we have is another iPhone 6s housing, except this one's even bent and missing like the volume pieces. This one has the volume pieces though, and the mute switch, but this one is like even bent and missing a lot of stuff. Except these two phones were originally from like an iCloud locked 6s, and I just kind of parted them out, just let them sit. Next up, we have is the iPhone SE first gen, 64 gigs, fully working, no issue, rose gold. Battery health 82, if I remember. Here we have is another iPhone SE first gen. Now this one I had since 2022, and it was also a part of and it was actually one of my main phones I used in 2022 for experience, even though that time I had like an SE second gen. And yeah, overall it's a really nice phone. I do really like this phone even back then when I made it, and yeah, it's nice overall. Battery health now is at 83. Here we have is an iPhone 7, 128GB silver. Battery health on this one is, I believe, 78. Here we have is another iPhone 7. This is one of my favorite phones in my collection, because this is a product red iPhone 7, 128 gigs, fully working, 100% battery health, I believe. And then we got a red 7 Plus, fully working, also 128 gigs, and battery health is, I believe, 89. I'm trying to remember the battery health and everything because I haven't turned these phones on in a while. Here we have is an iPhone 8. Now this phone has some issues. So long story short, I found this phone in the Target bin last year with a 11 Pro that's iCloud locked with like some aftermarket parts with it. Now this phone is FMI off when I got it. It was already missing a SIM card tray, and at the same time this phone is blacklisted, and And I actually did try to fix this phone myself, and it was pretty good actually. The only thing about this phone is that that this phone no longer have Touch ID, and this phone's already like kind of blacklisted, like bad ESN. I did put a SIM card tray from like an iCloud locked iPhone, from like a iCloud locked iPhone 8, and yeah. Overall, this phone here still works. The only thing is that Touch ID doesn't work, and you can't make phone calls on this because bad ESN. And then here we have is another iPhone 8. Here we have is another iPhone 8. Now this one is 256 gigs, gold, fully working, battery health 78. Now this is one of, I had this phone since July of 2021, which is already 4 years actually. And yeah, I did main this phone a little bit when I didn't have very many phones at that time, and yeah, still a nice phone to this day. Here we have an iPhone 8 Plus, 256 gigs, rose gold, fully working. Here we have is an iPhone XS, 64 gigs gold, fully working. The only thing is that it already had a bad Taptic engine, but I ended up taking it out because I didn't like the way it sounded. Now, I know a phone with a bad Taptic engine shouldn't be that much of an issue. It only feels like an issue when you use it too much, where the phone like basically vibrates a lot. That's the thing. All right, next up we have the iPhone 11, 64 gigs, fully working. Battery health is at 80. Wait, I can actually show you that. Also, Face ID on this phone does not work, by the way. That's one thing that I'm gonna mention. Where's battery health? Yep, 80% battery health. All right, so so we got an SE 2nd gen, fully working, battery health 76. It's really bad on this phone. Here we have the iPhone 12 mini. Now this phone was also part of my old phone. This phone was my old phone from September 2022 to June 2023. Now, one thing about this phone is that I had storage issue. One thing about this phone of maining this phone is that I had storage issue on this phone, and it was like so bad. It was also pretty painful. And the battery health on this one is at 76, which is also really bad. Both the iPhone SE 2nd gen and the iPhone 12 mini have very bad battery lives. Next up, we have an iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now this phone, I use it as like my secondary phone. And next up here, we have an iPhone 13 mini. By the way, the battery health on the 12 Pro, on my 12 Pro Max, 88. Also, this is 128 gigs, 64, 64, 64, 128, 64. Okay, yeah. Just making sure. So this one is 256 gigs. I kind of leaked a lot of my notifications. Okay, so by the way, none of them were like anything. They were just notifications of like YouTube and stuff. Okay, so next up we have an SE 3rd gen. Now this one I got it for Christmas last year for like $80 on Mercari, and which is a really good deal. It fully works, and yeah, 64 gigabyte, and the battery health is 100%. It's also locked to Straight Talk, by the way, which is why it was that cheap for a fully working condition. And then next up, we have an iPhone 14, 128 gig, yellow, battery health 100. And then we have an iPhone 16, 256GB black, fully working, battery health 100. I got this thing brand new this year on my birthday. Okay, that's all with the iPhone section. But I'll include the phone that I'm recording on. So the phone I am recording on is the iPhone 13 Pro Silver, 256 gigs. The battery health is 85 on it. Okay, I think you can kind of see it through some reflections. Yep. All right, now we're on to the Samsung. So here we have is the Galaxy S1, fully working. We have a Galaxy S3, fully working. S4, fully working. Although this one has no logo on the back, but it is on Verizon. Here we have a Galaxy S5, fully working. This phone is on Sprint, by the way. Here we have another S5, except this one has a wrong color back. This one is on Sprint, missing the flap cover. And I just put a Verizon. I just put this on because I thought it was cool. A blue S5 back cover. Now, I don't think this phone came with a original back. I don't think this phone came with a original back, so I just put a random one that I have on it and thought this one was cool. But this one is on Sprint though. And then here we have the S5 Sports. Fully working, no issue. Here we have the Galaxy S6. Fully working, no issue, Sprint. Here we have another Galaxy S6 Sprint, fully working, no issues. Here we have the Galaxy S6 Edge. Now this phone is cracked, and somehow this phone used to work, but recently it doesn't work. But for some reason this phone doesn't seem to work anymore, and I have not done anything with this phone. I got this phone in a way that it is cracked with a bunch of other random phones, and it was working when I first got it, but now it just doesn't work anymore. I'm guessing the battery on it went very bad or something, since this is kind of a common issue with these S6s. Next up, you have is a Galaxy S7, fully working, no issue. Here we have the Galaxy S7 Edge, fully working with no issues. Next up, we have the Galaxy S8, fully working, no issues. Now, I was using this phone though, so yeah. Here we have the Galaxy S9, works perfectly. Here we have is a Galaxy S10e, fully working. The only issue is that it is missing a back cover. I actually cracked the back cover on this a while ago, but I plan to get a new back cover for this, or back glass I should say, because sorry, I meant to say back glass. But yeah, I plan to get a new back glass for this sometime soon. Okay, now we're on to like the next row section. So I am so sorry if I sound a bit tired, but okay, so here we have the Galaxy Note 1. This thing fully works, no issues. We have a Galaxy Note 3, fully working. Note 4, fully working. Note 5, fully working. They said this one has like a little crack there, but other than that, it is fully working. Here we have the Galaxy J7 2016, fully working. Also in good condition. We have a J3 Luna Pro, which is basically the J3 2017, but in track phone, I believe, this carrier. Here we have two Galaxy J3 2018s, two J3 2018s, except I believe this one is a J3 Star and this one is a J3 Orbit, Arch, something like that. something like that. It's just a lot of these J3s and J3s have like a lot of like random names with like different carrier they uses. And then here we have this Xiaomi Redmi phone, and it does work, but the charging port on it kind of broke. It does work, but the charging port on it kind of broke, and that is unfortunate because this phone here was my grandma's old phone. It was working for a while, but then the charging port on this phone broke. Oh well. Here we have a little Metro PCS phone, fully working. Now I do remember this one I found in a Target bin, still had it. Here we have is this random T-Mobile phone. It does work. We have a Moto E5 Play, fully working. Moto G 2021. It does work. The back on this front. Oh, by the way, when I first got this one was from my Target bin. When I first got it, the battery was like very swollen, but now the battery on it does seem to not be swollen because apparently if you use a phone with a swollen battery, or for some phones, I guess, the battery somehow gets unswollen or something like that. But you can still. But I guess now this phone is kind of fully perfect. It just needs to be glued. And then we have this Nokia Lumia Windows phone. Pretty cool. And then over here we have a total of 5 Nokia 6030s. Now one of these is on T-Mobile. This one's on T-Mobile, and all of these are on Singular. Wait. These 3 are on Singular, and this one's, I believe, I don't know, T-Mobile or something. Okay. Alright, now we're on to like the flip phones and dumb. Sorry about that, guys. Like, I dropped my phone there for a second. Alright, so now we're on to like the flip phones and dumb phones. So first up we have is a old Samsung flip phone. Now this one is actually a Chinese Samsung flip phone, and it does work and everything. Next up we have is a Samsung AT&T flip phone. I got this on Mercari a couple months ago for only like $5 fully working. I do remember. Now this one was my grandparents' old phone. Wait, this one's actually my grandpa's old phone. So here we have is this Boost mobile phone. I found it in the Target bin and it works. Here we have is this phone, this Motorola phone. Now I do not know if this works or not because I do not have a battery for this, but I do find it in the Target bin. But I did find it in the Target bin. Same thing goes with this phone. No battery, but don't know if it works. But I did remember I found it in the Target bin. And then last up we have is this phone. This Asus phone. I don't know if this phone works or not because I do not have a battery for this phone, and it is missing a battery. And yeah. Okay, that's pretty much all the phones. Now we're on to like the watches. So first up we have is the Apple Watch Series 1, 42mm, 40 working. We have a Apple Watch Series 2, no screen, and don't know if it works or not. I think, hold up. I think it's just scuffs or something. But yeah, here we have is an Apple Watch SE first gen. This one was my main Apple Watch for a long time until early this year. 40mm. This one is a Apple Watch Series 6, 40mm. However, this one's iCloud locked. I actually got it iCloud locked. Kind of forgot why though, but but it's cool. Had it sitting in my had it sit. And then here we have is a Apple Watch Series 3, 42 millimeters, fully working now. I actually made this Apple Watch for a little bit, and then I got the Series 9 a while after that, and it fully works. And yeah, 42. By the way, this Apple Watch Series 3 is 42 millimeters. This Series 9 is 45 millimeters. And then we have these 3 kind of like non-smartwatches that I got from like random places, or actually mainly some arcade places. So this one is just a digital. It's just a digital watch. This one is a Minecraft watch. I got this from like some mall a few years ago, and this one is it's another watch. I actually got this one with this watch. But I do remember you press this, it actually flashes, which is pretty cool. Okay, now we're on to the iPod. So here we have is an iPod Touch 1st gen, 8 gigs fully working. It is actually jailbroken and has some apps on here, and the back is very scratched off on this. Here we have is another iPod Touch 1st gen, fully working. However, this one has like a lot of apps and games and music on here, and has an engraving on the back. Here we have is a iPod Touch 2nd gen, 8 gigs fully working. Here we have another iPod Touch 2nd gen, 8 gigs fully working. And then we have another iPod Touch 2nd gen. Now this one's 32 gigs. This one seems less scratched than my other one. Wait, no, this one, I think. Yeah. But it works. And then here we have an iPod Touch 4th gen. This one has a really bad battery. It is 8 gigs, but it only works when it's on the charger because the battery is super bad. Here we have is an iPod Touch 4th gen, 16 gigs. This one has some dead pixels on the screen, but it works. And then here we have is another iPod Touch 4th gen, 32, but this one is 32 gigs. It does work and has like a lot of apps and games on here as well as music. And then here we have is a white iPod Touch 4th gen. Now this one's my main iPod Touch 4th gen. It does work and has basically my stuff on it, because I got this way before the iOS 20, way before iOS 26 apps. No, what am I saying? Way before iOS 6 App Store shut down. That's what I meant to say. Way before the iOS 6 App Store shut down. Okay, next up we have is an iPod Touch 5th gen, 64 gigs, pink, fully working, no issues. I downgraded this recently to iOS 8.4.1. Here we have the iPod Touch 6th gen, blue, 32 gigs, fully working. Here we have is a pink iPod Touch 6th gen, fully working. It's 16 gigs, but it works. And then we have is a iPod Touch 7th gen, 32 gigabyte, fully working, gold. All right, that's the iPods. Now we're on to the iPads. Here we have is an iPad 2, 16 gigabyte, fully working. Here we have is another iPad 2, except this one's white, fully working. Now they are charged because I used them a bit earlier, but as you can see, they're both on 8.4.1. And then here we have another iPad 2. This one's 32 gigs. And it fully works. I think this one's dead right now, but it works and it's also downgraded. Here we have is a iPad 3. $64 gigs, fully working. Also downgraded, as you just saw. And then we have here we have is a iPad 4, 16 gigs. By the way, the iPad 3 is 64 gigs. It works. And it is also downgraded to 8.4.1. Also sorry about that there. I had a runny nose for a second. Alright, so here we have is a iPad Air 2. 128 gig space gray, and it fully works. Here we have an iPad 6, 128 gigs space gray, fully working. Here we have the iPad 9th Gen, 256 gigs space gray, fully working. And then here's my main iPad, my iPad 10th Gen, 256 gigs. Blue, fully working. And then we have the iPad minis. So we have, first up we have an iPad mini 1. Found this in a Target bin a few months ago. Actually a month or two ago. It actually does work. It just needs a new screen, but it's also FMI on when I checked, so kind of junk. Here we have an iPad mini 2. 16 gig, fully working. Here we have another iPad mini 2. Also 16 gigs, fully working. And then here we have another iPad mini 2. Now this one's a Wi-Fi and cellular model. But it's also 16 gigs, fully working. And then here we have is a space gray iPad mini 2. It does work, but it is dead right now. And then we have an iPad mini 4, 128 gig, gold, fully working. And now the MacBooks, the only MacBook I have in my collection is this. Now, my MacBook Air 2017. Now this phone is actually, and as you can see, this MacBook actually runs Windows. I am so sorry. I am so sorry for not saying things wrong. I am a bit tired, but I just prepared all of this for videos I want to do, so we're almost done. Don't worry, guys. So yeah, as you can see, this thing works. It's actually running Windows right now because it is actually patched to like Sonoma, but unfortunately it got bricked because it's on Sequoia, but I think I updated while it was patched and then it got bricked, which is unfortunate, but at least I can use it with Windows for now. And I actually installed Windows on that before that. So yeah, so I do have another computer that I'm going to show you, and that is this. This is the Evo PC laptop, and I had this computer since 2022, and it's a great laptop, great PC overall. It's a great PC overall. So this and the MacBook Air 2017 is the only MacBooks I have. So yeah. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like this video. Now this video took a lot to make, a lot to set up, and everything. I am so sorry if I sound extremely tired, but it was still worth it. If I pronounce anything wrong in like some parts, I do apologize for that, like I said, but it was to find a perfect time to do this video, because a lot of the times when I couldn't do these type of videos, it's because these type of videos take too long to make, and a lot of the times I am also kind of busy with life. So yeah. So anyways, guys, hope you guys liked this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.